There we go. Cool. Lots of people. I love this. This is going to be fun. Good to see you all. And what I'm going to do is that I'm actually going to mute you all because Steph and I are going to be doing the talking the first hour, and then you are going to be, let in on the fun after that. Um, so this is the thing. Welcome, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Anne. I'm the woman behind that Anne's Norwegian Knitting. I'm 100% Norwegian. I live in Norway, but I speak a lot of English these days. I haven't done that for a few years now, because I work with non-Norwegian knitters, basically. Um, and I've been knitting my whole life. I design patterns, and I've created a world of spectacular knitters on the inside. Part of my group is that we do a lot of stuff together, and we also do some historical dives. And another part of my group is that I have Steph coming in. And Steph, you can see her because I pinned spotlighted both of us because, we're going to be having a nice conversation. Steph is doing a lot of knit coaching for me, but she's also doing a whole lot of other stuff. Steph is, for those of you who don't know Steph, she's a really experienced knitter. She's got Norwegian heritage. She's from Minnesota. I'm telling them everything about you, Steph. So, feel free to chip in whenever you feel like it. And she's got a whole lot of experience in a wide range of crafts. And she's kind of into the historical part, and I'm a history buff. So, the combination, and we both love knitting. So the combination is stellar, to put it mildly. I mean, it's like the hand and the glove,
Or,
right? Yeah.
yep. Batman and Robin, that's what I keep calling us.
Yeah,
You're
she
Batman,
does.
I'm Robin.
Yeah, she does say that. So
The
I,
dynamic duo.
yeah, I'm Batman and you're Robin. I like that. I'm Batman. Okay. So if you see someone flying across your screen with a Batman mask on, that's me. Probably not going to happen, but anyway. So last summer, I told Steph that I'm thinking about starting a podcast. And she said, "Oh, that's a good idea." And I said, "Yeah, yeah, it is a good idea, but I need someone to be on my team because I can't sit there and talk for 1 hour every second week on my own. Well, I probably could, but you know." And then I said, "Would you like to join me?" And she said, "Yes, she would." And then I said, this was in May. No, it was in June, mid-June. And then I said, "Okay, let's start up in October." And
And
then,
I said, how about next week?
yeah, that's exactly what he said. And since then, we have been doing a couple of podcasts every week, every second week. And what we thought, I had this idea because I had this idea that we were gonna invite the people that are in Anson with the knitting onto a podcast episode and record it because we were going to talk about the Setesdal stuff. And I'm going to get back to that more closely later. But the reason why we're doing this is because we are entering Q3 and we are going to spend a lot of time on the inside of Anson with knitting talking about Setesdal. And we wanted to do a podcast about it for everyone, about Setesdal knitting and the history and everything. And as we talked, I said, okay, this might be a wild idea, but why don't we invite other people in as well? And let's do it the informal way that we always do it in a Zoom meeting, not, a podcast, no, not a broadcast on YouTube, and get more a closer, session with a Q&A session at the end. Well, of course, Steph never says no. So she said yes, and here we are. So that's what you're going to do today. We're going to dive into the Setesdal stuff. Steph is in Minnesota. I am in Norway, in Drammen. For those of you who know a bit about Norwegian geography, that's like southwest of Oslo, half an hour. And I would love you guys I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to let me know in the comments where in the world are you. That would be awesome to see where you're from. What we're going to do in a couple of minutes is that I'm going to close that comment field until we're finished with the talk. And then during the Q&A, we're going to open it again. Basically, because I know from experience that a comment field on a Zoom call like this is awfully distracting. People get. And if they start communicating in that comment field, then they lose out on so much of the fun that we are talking about, because we are going to talk about fun stuff. So there you go. Also, I want you to know, and this is in the name of transparency, when we do stuff like this is high quality stuff, and this is stuff that we could choose not to share with everyone. But when we do free stuff like this, at the end of it, there's always going to be an offer coming. Whether you want to jump on that offer or not, that's entirely up to you. However, I want you to know that it's coming. So in between this, right before, I'm going to spend like 3 minutes, 4 minutes talking about it before we enter into the QA, just so you know. Are we ready? So let's have a look at the chat. I want to see where everyone's from.
It's all over.
Yeah, isn't that fun?
Yeah.
That's why I always ask, because it's so fun to see, where people from. It's all over the US. It's Ireland, Michigan, Oregon, and then there's Kirsten is from Saskatchewan. Is that how you say it? How do you say that? Can you unmute, Kirsten?
Saskatchewan?
Yes,
Saskatchewan.
it's Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan.
Oh.
I found it. Yeah, thank you.
Saskatchewan.
Yeah, thank you.
And I saw someone else from Saskatchewan, from Vibank, which is really close to where I live. So that's exciting.
Yeah, that's Jeanette, I think. I'm fairly sure
Okay.
that's Jeanette.
Cool.
So there you go.
Oh.
Cool. Okay. Where else? Cumbria, the UK. Brilliant. Who's that? Jan. I think I met you before, Jan, haven't I? I think so. Maine, Florida, PA, Wisconsin, Minnesota. Lots of Americans and Canadians.
Let's see, Germany. Couple Germany.
Yeah, someone is talking about quiet sound, and if you have a quiet sound, I'm fairly sure that, just to check on this, can you, Nikki, can you take a thumbs up and tell me if you hear me clearly? Brilliant. That means that if you can't hear me for some reason, it's at your end. It's something in your device. Okay. Yeah, South Dakota, New York, Rhode Island. Let me see. I know there are some down under people, but I know also that they are sleeping right now, down in Australia. So they're going to watch the replay. Lots of cool stuff. Cool. Oxford, UK. Oxford, UK is one of my favorite places. Just saying. England is actually yeah, well, we can go down that road another day. Okay. Winchester, UK as well. Germany. Cool. Germany, Denmark.
Ooh.
Cool. Yeah, love it. Okay, what we're gonna do right now is that I'm gonna close the chat. Done. And then we're gonna get going. What I'm gonna do first of all is that I'm gonna start showing you a bit of geography, because the Setesdal knitting is Setesdal is a valley. Dal in Norwegian means valley. And in Norway, a valley is normally fairly steep with a river in the middle. That's how we define the valley awfully often. I'm laughing because Steph and I have had some discussions about valleys. I mean, the valleys in the Midwest of the USA is slightly different than the valleys in Norway, but that's, So, and I'm going to...
And less wide. We have wider valleys, and you're really steep and narrow.
Yeah, that's yeah. As soon as it becomes wide in Norway, it's a plateau. Yeah, but Norway is such a tiny country. We're long, but we, tiny. But anyway, okay, I'm gonna share screen. I'm gonna show you something. Okay, here we go. Share. So can you, Nikki, can you put your thumbs up again and show me if you can see the screen? Yes, brilliant. I'm going to use you as my benchmark today, Nikki. So just be prepared. Here we are, live webinar slash, inside call slash podcast slash let's have fun. And this is Norway. For those of you who don't know Norway, this is Norway, and it's a long one. If you put Norway on the, move it over to the American continent, you will see that the tip of Norway is at the, hang on. Deborah Knight, can you change your video camera? Because I'm looking straight into your ear. Thank you. Sorry. It showed up. I'm sorry. It was just showing up right there. You are one of, I can't choose who to see. And I saw that one. So there you go. If you put the tip of Norway in Seattle, the northern tip in Seattle, then the southern tip would be down by San Diego, right? So it's fairly long, this country, but it's narrow. So this is Oslo here, and Drammen is, and I haven't put that in there. This is something that I got when I got this map. It's in there. Drammen is here, right? So last summer, what I did was that I went on a research trip because we planned all this last summer. So I went on a research trip to Setesdal because I wanted to, meet some people and to learn a few things, go to a few museums and explore things. So Drammen is here, and then we drove like this up and down because there's a lot of mountains and lots of ups and downs here. And then you come over the last little mountain here, and going from there and downwards here, that is Setesdal. That's where you find Setesdal, and it continues up here. So that's the valley. This is the area where the Setesdal sweater and those patterns and that knitting comes from. This is a narrow valley. I'm going to show you that awfully soon. And it was a bit secluded and a bit, not so accessible back in the days. So they were a fairly closed community for a long time but that goes for most of the valleys in Norway because, they weren't that accessible. It was high up, long to go, walk and all that thing. But then we got the cars.
You could say it was a tight-knit community.
Yeah, I would say so. It was a stretched one, but it was a tight-knit one. Absolutely. Yes. Totally. So, this is how you write it. Setesdal, that's the name. Valley. Sete means, Dal means valley. Sete means, there might be people that would disagree with this, but my research tells me that what it could mean is a homestead farm, or a farm. And that was, the old way to write it was without, you can see it. It's not a spelling mistake. It's S-E-T-R, setter. And then that meant, they think that might be referring to an old large farm in the central part of the valley. So that's the name of it. And the reason why I tell you all this is because I always get those questions. What does it mean? And there you go. I never searched that, I never looked that up before I started this thing here. It was, for me, it's just a name. So that's what it means. And then apparently, as in other countries around Europe, you had small, kingdom-like, they were not kingdom, but big farms that owned a lot of land. And then that is split up, obviously, over time. Last year, when I
tenant farmers. So you had small farmers on the large farm.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yes. This is 2 pictures I just want to show you from last year. This is when I was driving down the valley. There is a river on this side here, which also, it becomes kind of a lake at some point. Not a big one, but it's still a rivery kind of lake, if you see what I mean. But it's a lake/river. going through the whole valley. And we were driving down, and here's the mountains. And this here is taken from a cabin we rented because we stayed down there in one of the areas down there for a few days for my research. And this is on the top of the mountain, and down over here and down into the bottom here, you find the valley. So this is kind of like on the top, not on this, but on the top up here. So just wanted to give you an idea of where Setesdal is, because I think this is important when we dive into the traditions and culture. We, having put a bit of meat to the bone is always adding to the experience, right? So I'm going to stop sharing, and we are going to dive in from there. We're going to move into a bit of history around all this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think Steph is the one that's going to lead this part of the conversation.
So the Setesdal sweater. So I want to start out with it. In Norway, sweaters really started as troyers. And if you don't know what a troyer is, it's a nightshirt. Troyer means nightshirt. And they were generally one color, but they'd use pearls. So they'd make like the 8-pointed star only with pearl bumps, which you still see in a lot of designs these days. But it was really used as a nightshirt. The troyer kind of evolved over the years and became known as an undershirt. It was still a sweater like we think of it today. So, but it was tucked into clothing. And I think, Anne, you have a picture of that. But so a lot of times, if you're researching the Setesdal sweater, it'll come up as a troyer because that's originally what was classified as. And troyers were really, when they became undershirts, it's not like an undershirt we think of today. It was built for working. It was built for all kinds of weather. They were usually thicker homespun yarns, and they were built for work, but they were worn underneath. So, Anne, do you have that one picture that we can show as being worn as a troyer?
Hang on. Is that the one that from the back?
From the back, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So I've got some pictures that Anne will be showing, and the pictures of mine are from the Digital Museum in Norway. Yep, there we go. And so if you can search online for images and objects that are in museums. Norway is really great about putting all of their museum things online. So that's where I got this pictures from, that Digital Museum. But you can see he's got his sweater tucked inside his work clothes. So it was a working sweater for him, a working shirt or a working troyer. It was an undershirt. So, and you can see that here. Troyer eventually evolved into kofta. In kofta, so in Setesdal, when you if you're looking things up in English for a kofta, it'll come up as jacket. So this sweater eventually became an outside piece and more of a jacket or a kofta.
Yeah,
now kofta is built. I'm sorry, what?
No, I'm just looking.
Yeah, show that one.
Picture where it is on the outside. If you had a cardigan, yeah. Okay, sorry, yeah.
So the jacket or cardigan and kofta were built more for tradition, identity, and the patterning became very important. So there's two really old sweaters in Norway that are just most iconic. There's a lot of old sweaters, but two are very iconic. The Setesdal one and the Fana. Both started as troyers and evolved as they came along. So the Setesdal one, if you're looking at this photo, key components are up. Look at up on his shoulder. There's the X's and the O's, X's and O's. So this is really known for X's and O's. You see underneath that there's some solid lines. That's known for the Setesdal. Those zigzags on his arm, very so in a lot of them. And then the lice. And the lice are the little dots that look like little bugs crawling all over is the lice. So those are the very key pieces that are in the Setesdal sweater.
Mm.
Yeah.
The X's and the O's, they in Norwegian we call that kors og kringle, and that means crosses and Pringles.
Crosses and kringles.
Pringles. Yeah,
Pringles.
kringle is Pringles. That's what it is. But we're not gonna dive into that today. We might be talking about that later. I have an idea for another podcast with another person at some point.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But all of those that they put on there are symbols and meant something to them.
Mm.
So and this sweater really evolved, but I want you to look at the cuffs on this particular one. So this, I don't think he was obviously not working in this outfit. Look at all the beautiful things he's got on. But at the cuffs, which is now turned into part of their bunad, there was a wool piece sewn around the cuff with some fancy nice pewter buttons and embroidery.
Mm.
And when these first started, the embroidery was very individual. So each family kind of had their own embroidery and own symbols that they put on the embroidery part. Embroidery was on the cuffs and it was also on the collar. And I've got a few examples and pictures that I think Anne can show. So before machines started doing embroidery, yeah, you can see that was like individualized. You individually embroidered around on a piece of black wool, typically black wool.
Mm.
And the colors typically used were red, green, yellow. So you'll see that throughout these colors in the embroidery. And then later on, machines started making embroidery and everybody kind of did the same colors. But in these old ones, there's another very individual, probably to the family, embroidered part of the collar and the slit.
Mm. And here you also see
Again,
that
you see the X's.
if you look at the crosses and this and these the O's, is that what you call them? What did
O's? Yeah, that's what I've
the crosses and the O's?
The granddaughter.
That means if you look here, you see the crosses, and then you see this is the O. Doesn't necessarily look like it, but it is. But if you go back to this one here, you see that it's made out of 4 small ones on this one, and then there is a solid one, more solid one back down there. And then if you go back to him here, you see he has 4 of those small ones up there at the shoulder. And he's got the bigger ones, which is a different bigger one at the bottom. So that this just shows that there is, the variety is there, but you have the crosses and the circles need to be there for it to be a proper Setesdal sweater. Yeah.
Yeah. You notice on him, it's up on his shoulder. And as time progressed, the X's and O's came down onto the chest a little further. But in the beginning, those X's and O's were up higher on the shoulder.
I think one of the reasons why they came further down was that because traditionally these sweaters were knit in Norway. We knit everything in the round, and they've done that for a long, long time. They also did some flat colorwork, but I know that even back then they did knit things in the round with the colorwork, and then they knit them all the way to the top, and then they cut open the neckline and did stuff. But as time evolved, I am not sure about this, but I'm fairly sure that this is partly why it happened, is that you knit in the round and then you split, you knit the upper part on each side of the neck opening flat. And as Norwegians don't want to knit collarwork flat, then we move those pattern parts further down, and then we make sure that we make something easier that we can knit on the top. This is just
that makes sense. And this American likes to not doing things color work in the flat either.
Yeah.
It's so much easier to do color work in the round.
Yeah.
But like Anne said, you started at the bottom, and they did have white at the bottom, just plain white without any color work when they first started. And I've heard so many, like the white band at the bottom. I've heard people say it's because they tucked it in their shirt and they didn't want to waste colored yarn. I've heard several different theories on this, but really what I've most come down to and heard from historians and experts is really it was the fashion. More than practicality, it was the fashion to just have the white at the bottom.
Okay, I'm
So,
going
fashion
to
of the day.
I'm going to challenge you a bit on that one because I spent 3 hours last year with Anne Sundbø, who is one of the most famous knitting historians in Norway.
Yeah.
And she's from Setesdal, right? You know this, but I'm telling everyone else this. And I asked her because we had been talking about this. We also talked about this with Nina Granden
Yes.
during one of our virtual retreats when she did a presentation. And that summer, I was there with Anne, who's an expert on all this. And and I was like, okay, I need to ask why? What is it? And she said, there's so many different opinions down there, but what she said is that they didn't want to put color work on their private parts.
Oh, I haven't heard that one.
Uh-huh. So there we go.
And Nina said it was fashion.
She did touch on the private part as well. Yeah. So
okay.
Yeah. So anyway, and I was looking at her and she said, we're not 100% sure, but I think that's it, she said. And I was like, okay, I can.
Yeah. So we're back to we really don't know. Anyway, that part has really gone out of fashion. Modern ones, you don't see that white in the bottom anymore. But you did start at the bottom. There was pattern work. And then the lice. So your lice V's, your V's of your knit stitches, or the lice were V's like this. So one of the ways to know, you can see the V's are pointing up. In the more modern ones, a lot of times you're going to see the V's pointing down. You'll know that's modern then because you started at the top and went down instead of bottom working up. And there's no doubt it's easier to do top down than bottom up. But if you want to be historically accurate, let's get our V's pointed up.
Yeah. Which I have decided to be during this that journey that we're doing this year into Setesdal. All the new models are done bottom up. I'm not saying it's challenging. I'm saying it's easier to do it top down, but it's fun to do it the traditional way. And actually, okay, it's a bit challenging to challenge yourself in a positive way. Yeah. It's fun. Yeah.
So a little bit more on the embroidery. The embroidery was wool thread on top of a woven wool panel back then. Now you can find it often on velvet, and it could be a cotton thread. So even the embroidery has really changed. But it was, around the collar, and you saw that it was circular shaped around your neck, and then it came around the V. And that's really evolved through time.
I love this one.
Isn't that one great? That one's from the 1920s. And that is a great one. And you can see again, the X's and O's are up higher. And also, as these sweaters evolved, more and more panels were added into them. So that's kind of a fun fact too. So as you're looking at historic ones, you can tell how they were done.
And I'm fairly sure if you look at this one, I am fairly sure that this one was knit all the way to the top. And then they made a sticking line, and then they cut this part here off and enforced it, and then added the ribbings and the embroideries and all that afterwards. So
yeah. And the traditional closure on these, if you put a closure on them, it would be a clasp, not a button. Buttons on the sleeves. clasp on the top.
Yeah, definitely clasps. Absolutely. Let me see.
Yep.
Can we see that in? No, we can't see it on these ones. I have another picture that I'm going to show you later. Yeah,
There's those
where I can show.
zigzags and
Yeah. Cool.
Okay. I think that's what I wanted to say about that.
Okay. So this is the thing. When we hang on, I'm going to okay, so this knitting in Norway was like it was fairly in the 80s, the yarns weren't that good as they are today. They were scratchy, and I grew up with home knit stuff, and I can't tell you how many times I told myself as a kid that I am never, ever going to knit my own sweaters. I love knitting, but I'm going to have to knit other stuff, and I'm not going to use wool, right? That has changed slightly. Today I love knitting sweaters
Only wool.
and I use wool only. 100% wool. I do use some cotton stuff now and then, but wool is my go-to thing. But in the 80s, we had this pop group called, I mean, many of you were in the right target group back then. I was. I mean, I'm fairly sure most of you guys have heard about it. There was this pop group called Aha from Norway that had this hit called Take On Me. And the lead singer, Morten Harket, he was the most handsome of them all. They all thought so. I preferred Morten, no, the keyboard player, Magne Furuholmen. I thought he was, absolutely awesome. I could have married him. He found someone else, unfortunately, but that's, the story of my life, isn't it? Anyway, he was so popular, but he showed up on a photo shoot as a teenager, or, when they did this in the mid 80s in London with a Setesdal sweater. And this Setesdal sweater went viral, and everyone, obviously, and that's also was the beginning of a renaissance for the Setesdal sweaters in Norway. So he showed up in this one, and then all of a sudden, everyone, not even in Norway, but around the world, wanted Setesdal sweaters because, he was handsome. He was a pop star. He was the #1 on the Billboard list back then. And then there you go. For some reason, I preferred that one. I thought this one was a bit too much. He's an introvert, but I like this one. But that's, I still do, but that's another
Look at the background of his sweater is white instead of the typical charcoal.
Yes, and that's the thing. This is the first time. He did show up later with black ones, but traditionally these are done with charcoal and in the base, and then off-white pattern, obviously. But he showed up with the other way around, and that started a trend of, okay, we can do it this way as well. He obviously wasn't the first one, but he was the first one who went viral in the sense that he did go viral back in the 80s. But, I did look up.
If you
Yeah.
If you zoom in on him, he's got the clasps on his.
He has, and that's partly why I can't. Yes, here we go. It's really grainy, this picture, but you will see that there are clasps there, right? And then he's got one circle down here, and then he's got another one up here, right? With the
Yep,
four
up on the
ones,
shoulder.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then, what also, there you see, he was in all the magazines with that sweater. He was, he was. That's what he was. And here we also see the embroideries, right? So this is what it's supposed to be, right? And as opposed to today, back then in the 80s, everything, well, not opposed to today, but everything was oversized, and all the patterns were still really made. These traditional patterns were made in the same shapes as the old ones, and the sleeves were really wide. The standards for when
Mhm.
we made these sweaters 100 years ago, 150 years ago, 200 years ago, the standard was more or less that the sleeves were at the joint to the body were half um, di the diameter of the sleeve was half the width of the sleeve was half the body, you know. So
Okay.
you took this
So the armpit went down to halfway of the body.
more or less,
Yeah.
you know, give and take. But that was kind of what they said. And then when you did the yarn requirement stuff, what you did was that, you know, you found out how much you needed for the body, and then you just split that into two, and you add, well, actually you double that, because one sleeve they said that was approximately half a body. It wasn't, because the sleeves go in, but still, that's very much how they did it.
Mm-hmm.
I've been told. So anyway, so that was the Renaissance. And I don't have a picture of what I'm going to say now, but what happened was that because they really got popular again, these sweaters back then, and then that started a trend in Norway, where we went back to our roots in a way, knitting wise, and started using the old patterns a lot again. I've always been there, obviously, but they had this revival. And then in the 90s, what happened was that during the one of the Olympics in the 90s, because we always have, for those of you who haven't listened to it, we have this Olympic podcast, knitting podcast earlier this winter, because the Norwegian team always have a new design made for them, you know, traditional Norwegian sweater normally made for them for the Olympics. And I think it was not the 94. I think it was 98. I'm not sure. I might be wrong, but somewhere around there. Maybe even been 2002. Where the Setesdal was, you know, the base for the Olympic sweater. It was a start, you know, it was modified, but it was a Setesdal sweater that was modified to be a new design kind of thing. So there you go. Cool. And this is actually what I have been doing with, you see my blue one behind there. This one here is my new Setesdal, well, Mountain Rose meets Setesdal sweater. And you see there are no circles there. So it's not a Setesdal sweater because there are no circles. Okay, I have small circles in it, but and you see those in the I can't I'll show that for everyone on the inside later. We can also talk about it during the Q&A. So I have the small ones, but I don't have the big ones because I've added my rose. That's what I do. You know, I use all these old patterns as my inspiration. I don't even use them. They are just naturally becoming my inspiration. And then out comes something else. And I have to tell a short story. So if you ever listen to this on the moor, sorry about this, but I have to tell you. Last summer, I went to Setesdal, and I had I called on the moor, or actually I didn't call her. I sent her an email and I said, "Hey, my name is Anne. I'm a knitting designer." I felt a bit intimidated because she's the biggest authority of them all. And I said, "I'm coming to Setesdal because I want to do some research on the Setesdal knitting." And it's like, are you available so we can meet? And she was like, "Oh, I would love to." Yes, because she is such a generous person. And she shares so much of her knowledge because she wants the world to know, and she wants to make sure that the old traditions are brought forward to the next generations, right? So I went there and I had a long talk with her. Her stories are long, and I hope that I can share some of it with you one day. But I showed her because I had started already then, but I haven't come that far. I had started on the black and white version that I'm making, same pattern, slightly different, because this one is for what we call the mountain journey, and this one is for the northern light journey. But it's more or less the same. But anyway, I started this one and I showed her this one and I showed her a draft, a drawing of the pattern that you see at the back there, right? And I said, I'm not sure if you're gonna approve of this, but I'm making this new pattern and I've taken out the circles and added the rows. And I felt so small saying it. And she looked at me. She looked at me and she's the sweetest. She looked at me, she didn't say anything. And then I saw, looked at her and said, okay, I have a feeling you don't approve. And she was like, no, it's not that I don't approve, but you have taken away the circles. And I said, yeah, I have. I have because that's my project. And I'm quite, conscious around that. I've taken away the circles and then I put in the rows. And she said, okay, in that case, it's fine. As long as you're conscious around it and you know that there is about, it's all about the symbolism and you are adding your rows because that is your symbol, then it's fine. But it's not a Setesdal, proper Setesdal sweater. And I said, no, it's not. It's a Setesdal inspired sweater, right? And then she said, well, and that was like the change in her face when I said, I know, but I've added my rows. I've taken out the circles conscious, it's a conscious choice. And the look in her face when it's like, okay, that's fine. Then you know what you're doing. It's like, okay, thank you. So it's approved. I'm just telling you, the new pattern is approved.
If you get approved by her, that's the stamp.
Yeah.
But you did keep, and you have a more modern fit. So
Yeah.
your fit is a modern,
yeah,
wearable.
Yeah. It is. It's not as wide in the sleeves, and it's slightly actually. This one is also hasn't got the traditional inwards going ribbing at the bottom. But again, as I keep saying, you can do whatever you want. And the sleeves are a bit shorter than you would find on the normal sweaters there because the normal sweaters the old ones are really long. They're actually too long. So they're a bit shorter and it's a bit wider than a traditional kind of, it's the female one.
But you kept the zigzag elements. You definitely, with your rows, it still has the X and O visual, even though the O is out.
Yeah,
You have
it's
the
exactly
panels, you have the striping.
it's
all
exactly
it's all Setesdal. Yeah.
And I used old pictures and an old model from my mom when I did this. When I put this together, my mom had an old sweater. And I'm going to show you that one awfully soon. And many of you have probably seen it already, but she knit that one back in 1961. That's a black and white picture that was on the invitation page. And that, that's my mom. And she was like, she's born in 43. So she was 18 years old when she knit those. Because next to her is another lady sitting with the same sweater because they were going from cabin to cabin in the mountains in Norway that summer. And she knit those sweaters for that trip. And the lady next to her is not on the picture because I don't want to expose her. I don't know her, so I took her away. But I'm using my mom. I mean, to the, almost to the degree of abuse. So when I started this event here, I called her and I said, "Hey, Mom, just so you know, you're going to be all over Facebook in the next few weeks." And she was like, okay, thank you. And it's for telling me. She's proud. She's proud of it and she's proud of what we're doing. So
she should be. It's a beautiful sweater. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder how many times this sweater has like revived because it's from 1800s. And now it's just like, and like you said, it came with the AHA band. It had a revival and like when your mom did it in the 60s, that was having a revival. I wonder how many revivals this has had. It just keeps coming. It's such a great sweater. It keeps coming back.
Yeah, and I think quite a few. I mean, if you look at Many of you joined us for the virtual retreat in February and March, and we had Sissel Høyvik coming in, a Norwegian designer, and she uses the Setesdal pattern a lot. She does lots of embroidery embellishments on it, but she uses that pattern and she loves that pattern. She doesn't add her own element, but she adds the embellishments. I add my rose, right? So, but I talked to her, I had a long talk to her, and she said that what she does to honor that is that for her it's really important to honor the fact that and let people know that it is a Setesdal sweater. So one of them is, for example, is called Morning Mist in Setesdal. Colloquially, we call it the morning mist, but so morning mist and sunset in Setesdal and all that kind, so she adds the Setesdal to the name. This one is and the other one and one that is coming in September, because there's one coming in September as well, is all called the Mountain Rose meets the Setesdal version 1, 2, and 3 or something like that. So there you go. Yeah, cool.
That is a cool thing about Norway. Like your sweaters evolve over time, which is you're not stealing elements. It's more of an evolving, and people celebrate that.
And I think that is the key with all patterns, is that if you have to let it inspire you. And then this goes for, everyone who knows me know how much I appreciate history and how much I love bringing forward the parts of history that we want to bring forward. The parts that we don't want to bring forward, we leave behind, right? And it's like, because, this one, this sweater here is what we call the level 3 sweater. We have a cardigan as well, which is made in the same. It's in the Northern Lights story. But this sweater here, on the sleeve, it's got the crosses, right? And the rose. Those crosses are, because what most people don't know about this pattern here is that this section in between here, this is directly inspired by the Setesdal sweater. I wanted to use that crosses and circles pattern. And then everything else, all these elements here, I have adapted it slightly because I am fairly strict on the number of stitches between the different colors. I don't want it to be too long, and it needed to flow in a way. So I adapted it slightly, but all these elements, they are the same on this side and this side. They're just mirrored. They are taken from patterns that were released in the 1940s and 50s. And those patterns, obviously, most likely, were inspired by patterns that were released or knit, not necessarily released before then, but something that they had locally, right? So,
right.
Yeah. So so my first Setesdal inspiration was actually this one 3 years ago. So there you go.
Or the level 3. And really the Marius came from this sweater as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
The famous Marius sweater.
Yes, yes.
Based in the sweater.
Yeah, that Marius sweater is it's totally inspired by the Setesdal. Totally. Without doubt. They even said
so the first ones were before dyed yarn, really, right? So they used natural black, which is kind of a brownish, and the natural white, and then did embroidery in color. But now, like yours has several colors.
Yeah, you can use
another
whatever
update.
you want. Yeah, exactly. And it's like that's why I did this one, which is not a traditional Setesdal sweater color, right? This one is. I have added the ochre, right? But apart from that, it's traditional, right? So yeah, cool. Anything else we should say? Because I
don't think so.
I would like to show you something. Hang on, share screen. Share screen. Share screen. So I'm going back to this one, but I'm going to go. Yeah, this one is another one that you had.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
embroidery on that one is another good one.
yeah, you
And
see,
then that one doesn't have buttons on it.
yeah,
Oh yeah, that one's got the clasps.
yeah, right. And this one is also sticked. There is no way in freaking anything that this one is knit flat. This one is sticked in the neckline. And that's what we're going to learn in the Northern Lights year 3+ this autumn.
Yeah.
And this
So
one,
that cuff there, so they knit below that black line of knitting, they would knit that and then put that the embroidered part and the black woven part over the top of the knitting.
mm.
So there is knitting underneath that cuff.
But that would be a plain knit, not a ribbing, right?
Right, just a plain knit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. How beautiful is this? I mean, really.
Isn't that fun? And there's so many possibilities if you did your own embroidery and made it so personalized
Yeah.
like they did.
Yeah. Love
Their
that.
craftsmanship was
Yeah.
unmatched, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that. Okay. So this picture here is taken from I've taken this is a photo I've taken from a book. This is most likely the first Setesdal sweater ever photographed.
Oh.
Yeah, back in 1850 something or 1860 something. I can't remember the name, and I didn't have the time to look, neither year, but I didn't have the time to look it up. So this is probably the first one. And one of the reasons why we wanted to do this today, I touched on this before we started, is that, this historical part here is such a huge part of what we do on the inside of Anne's Norwegian knitting. And yeah, we do knit, all kinds of stuff, sweaters, Easter decor, Christmas decor, mittens, shawls, But we spend a lot of time talking about this kind of stuff as well, and related, history and culture that belongs in this setting. And what we're doing now in the coming months in the mountain journey, which is our membership, and that's where all my patterns are released. For those of you who are wondering, I don't sell; they are all released in the inside the journeys. Is that we are diving more into this Setesdal stuff. We're going to talk more about it, and the patterns are going to be released, and we are taking you from this, what we talked about today, through to, and here comes my mom. Here, this is the one from 1961, which was her version. And you see, she didn't want to do that sticking part, so she's done just the boat neck on hers. And this actually, my sister says that she hasn't thrown it away, but she can't find it. But my mom was tiny back then, and my sister is tiny. And so she got this sweater. So, like 6 or 7 years ago, I know this existed still. But she made it into a cardigan. So
Oh, cut it open and
yeah, so she's opened it in the front and sticked it, and they put on the clasps and some embroidery and stuff. But we cannot find it. And of course, there aren't any pictures of it. And I'm so upset by that. It's like, I mean, seriously. And my sister keeps telling me, I didn't know that you were going to become, a traditional knitter like this. If you told me, I would have saved it. But anyway, so we are taking all this, into this, which is what I am creating today, what we are creating today. And here you see it more clearly that, and here you see, we're cheating because we are doing the upper section here flat without much color work. The color work that's in there is done very cleverly, to be able to be flat. Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. So there you go. We know what we're doing over here. At least we pretend we know. We are also
It's got a big impact without the painful part of the work.
Yeah, and that I think that is also because, and this is what we do, is that, it depends on how deep you want to dive. And for those who's been with
Mhm.
me in my in the Northern Light, which is the top end and membership for 3 years or more, they have proven that they want to go this deep. So we're going to do that, right? So, but for the others, for those in the mountain, we will be, the pattern is made in such a way that the only stick that you do is for the sleeve because it's set in sleeves. And if you're wondering, obviously this is just me pinning it onto the doll because it's not mounted, it's not assembled. I'm going to make tutorials for that. So that's when I have the time. I just need to do my taxes. They are due, you see. um, so we're doing this, and then in June, what we're doing is that we're releasing some smaller patterns so that you can test out the yarn and you can test the patterns and test your colors if you want to. So we're doing this, some smaller patterns in June. The pattern is coming in August, no, in July, late July, and then in August when we have the wool month, which is a free event. But everyone who's in the mountain at that point, they will also get a separate project. We are actually dedicating wool month this year, the pattern to make it fit into the Setesdal theme this quarter. I have an idea for that, by the way, Steph. We need to talk about it.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
But if you guys don't know Anne, that usually means something really fun is coming.
Yeah. So yeah, as I told you, we're making tutorials for this to support you. Not a complete one, but we do support tutorials to make sure that we address the pain points. We walk everyone through the patterns on live calls where they can ask questions and get their answers. And, we meet live, which is half the fun. We see each other a lot and we meet live, and that is so much. I mean, honestly, it's the live part, I think, is the biggest win of all this. We share ideas, we ask questions, and we celebrate progress, and we spend time just with people that love doing the same things as we do, right? So there we go. In other words, I just want to say, because people keep saying that, do I have to do this just to get the pattern? And no, if you just want to get the pattern, you still have to do it. But there's so much more than pattern. Our community and this Northern Light journey is all about a conglomerate of knitting traditions, history and culture, and guidance and support tutorials and live meetups, making new friends. Taking old traditions into the 21st century, right? So yeah, you have to join to get the pattern, but it's not to get the pattern. You do get the pattern as well. That's what I like to say, but you get all that other stuff. And that is basically, this is, you've understood it. This is the sales segment. I'm telling you what we're doing before we move into the Q&A. But if any of this has inspired you, you are more than welcome to join us. The standard monthly price for this is 47. We do have a campaign right now with 20% off that has been running for a while, but that is closing on June 8th, midnight Pacific. That means that instead of 47, you pay 37.6. And I added that 0.6 because always, if I say 38, someone says that it's 37.6. If I say 37, someone says 37.6. Okay, so it's 37.6. That's the thing. If you want to join us for a year, and I can promise you there's a year full of adventure coming up and a lot of fun. We do have some really fun things lined up for the rest of the year, but also for the first.
Y'all have all of next year planned as well.
Yeah, we have.
There are some fun things, yeah.
It's going to be exciting. It really is. It already is, but it's going to be more exciting. If you sign up for a year, you get 2 months for free. So that means that you pay for 10 months, $376 right now. And also, if you do a year, you get the Knit Bliss collection bonus as an add-on, and that is all these patterns that you see here. That is what I always give that as an add-on to the pattern to the yearly subscribers. That's a standard. Okay. I have one more surprise for you since you're here live. For those of you who sign up in the next 24 hours, you will be one of the patterns in the knit bliss is this baby blanket. And you can make this baby blanket as big or as small as you want it. This is in that knit bliss, but you're gonna get that pattern if you sign up in the before midnight tomorrow. For everyone who's already in the mountain, don't worry, you're gonna get this one. So we're not making, we're not making favorites here. So there you go. Everyone is getting before midnight tomorrow, then you're gonna get this one as well. And that's the one I made. This one here is made by Crystal, who's in our community. She's, what I do is that I keep telling them that, when are you gonna share pictures? It's not if, it's when are you gonna share pictures? And they do share pictures. So there you go. And I love these pictures. She made this spring and she shared this picture and a few others with me. Absolutely beautiful. And yeah, and I made this one a bit more down to earth kind of thing. But there you go. Okay, I think that is it. What we're going to do now is that we're going to open the chat. And I am going to give you the link to the sign up page for the for the mountain, for those of you who want that. Then what we're going to do is as follows. I'm going to open the chat first of all. Where is it? Can you see the chat now? Is it open, Steph?
Yep. Totally.
Yep. Let us know what you think about it this far. It would, have you enjoyed this? That would be fun. So if you can keep an eye on the chat and see what they say, Steph, I'm going to find the link and share that with you guys. And then we're going to go into Q&A. Oh. And just so you know, this is kind of what it's like. We're not always 100 people on the calls, but what you're experiencing with Steph and I talking, or one of us talking, and then going into Q&A and people being taken down on stage to ask questions, this is what it's like on the inside.
Wow, there's a ton of questions, but Joe Kurtz had her hand up before people started asking.
Yeah, I would like you all to find that little hand of yours to raise hands. And I would like you to ask your knitting questions first. And we bring you down on stage. If you don't want to, stay black without video. And then because then we can't take you down stage, and you can just ask your question. And then let's do some knitting questions first. And if you have questions about the membership or joining us, let's just wait a few minutes with that, okay? I am going to share in the chat, for those of you who are interested, a link. There you go. There's a link in the chat. I've been talking a lot. I need some water. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Joe Kurtz, do you want to ask your question while Anne's getting a drink?
Oh, yeah, sure. Okay, so you said that historically the base color was charcoal, and then with the white, what did you call them? Ticks? Yeah.
The lice?
No, the fleece or lice.
Lice.
Yeah,
lice.
Yeah. Okay.
In Norwegian, it's loose, and it actually means lice. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So are modern designers changing the backgrounds, or are they sticking to the traditional more? Or I noticed that this sweater and back of you uses more color. I thought probably the embroidery probably was taking the place of color, but with the base color, are they using more base colors?
Yeah.
I'm seeing stuff definitely with more color. And then I'm seeing people take the lice out in the really modern ones. Yeah, I like them better with the lice in them, but
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
to me personally, I mean, I'm a free spirit. You know that, Joe. You know me. I tell people that you can do what you like. It's entirely up to you. But then again, I'm fairly for those of you who were in level 2 course this spring, I was fairly clear about one of the changes that was done to my pattern. I didn't like it, and I really couldn't hide it, and that came across really clearly. But as I kept saying, okay, I don't like it, but if you like it, you can do it. I don't like these patterns without the lice, to me, is a nice pattern, but it's not.
No.
Then you're taking it a bit. But that's just me, right? I think what we see today is that people use so much more color than we used before, and we experiment with it. And I don't. You were at the retreat in August, no, in February, right? And
Right.
you saw the models that Cecil showed us. I mean, she's using all kinds of colors,
Bright,
beautiful colors, right?
bright colors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I
And
mean,
she,
is that across the board? Basically, that they're doing the designs now with everybody, using more color, or just
uh,
her? Or,
no, I think it's common, but you will, as all in every, you will always find people that go stick to the traditional more,
sure.
Yeah, I'm sure there are people that say, no, I'm sticking to the traditional. I change the colors and I can change the borders or the diagrams, but I'm not changing the colors. Others say that I can change the diagrams, but I'm not changing colors.
Okay.
Then you have some of us that change it all, and then, but we put the line. I put the line with the
yeah.
lies. If you take away
And
the
you're
line,
seeing more people take out those embroidered cuffs and the are really going out. And then the embroidered fronts and their hand embroidery. They're doing hand embroidery right on the knit instead of on the wool cloth anymore. So
Okay.
I think we're seeing them. Almost all of
That
those cuffs are gone.
well, that's a scary word for me. Embroidery.
Embroidery.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
That's like down there, way down there. Embroidery. Oh
Yeah.
no.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Who knows? I mean, you've been around for a while in our world now, Joe, and you stick to us, and I'm sure I'm going to be able to push you into some embroidery.
oh,
I'm
okay.
fairly,
Well,
I'm fairly sure. Thank you.
yeah, good luck with that. Thanks.
I'm
you
enjoying
can
it,
buy
Joe.
it, Joe. You can buy those. You can buy those pre-embroidered now.
Yeah,
The new ones are kind of velvet,
yeah.
and you can buy them pre-embroidered for you.
Mm.
Oh, that's a thought. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
actually, Joe, most people do that. They buy them ready-made and
Ah,
sew them on.
the secret is out. Okay.
But in the mountain, no, in the Northern Light, we are going to learn how to do those embroideries.
Okay.
There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Raise your hand, everyone, because I'm sure there must be questions. Don't feel shy.
I've got
And if you don't
I've got
want to be taken down, then it's like that's fine. But it's always nice to see who you talk to. So, it's kind of like
yeah, there's
okay.
lots of questions in the chat too.
Yeah, but and we can address that, but I'm gonna tell you, I am prioritizing the hands because I like talking to people. So there you go. Michelle, you don't have the camera on. Okay, your question.
Oh, I thought I did. I'm sorry. Oh, so talk to the hand. Yeah, we'll talk to the hand. Thank you for this historical, and I just think it's so exciting. I liked your podcast, and this was really cool. So I just had kind of maybe one question. How do you spell work shirt? You called it a trojer. How do you spell
Troyer?
it in Norwegian?
Troyer.
No,
Yeah, Troyer. Troyer.
no, that's not how you spell it. Okay, I'm going to do this properly.
Well, when you do the translate, that's how it comes up from Norwegian to English.
Troye.
Put the line in there.
Oh, the
It's an
line. Okay.
and over
Uh,
the line across.
okay. Troyer. Troyer.
Freya.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Very nice. That was it. Just really interesting. I'm excited. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, cancel that one and unpin, and then carry ball.
Hello, lovely presentation. And I was just going to ask, we were talking about the width of sleeves, and I think a lot of that came from the Dale, D-A-L-E yarn company. Remember when they used to put out,
But it is from before then.
yeah, but before, but to make it popular, it seems like in the 80s and 90s, we saw it in their books, those
Yeah, but they have,
for
yeah.
and so what my question is, what are we looking at now ratio wise? A third of the circumference?
Yeah, you know what? That varies a lot from designer to designer and from model to model. But what I normally use a third as my starting point, yeah, and then sometimes I go a bit up and a bit down, and that it's also not I'm not consistent from the smallest to the biggest size, because the biggest size normally needs more than a third. And the smaller sizes don't need more, they need a third, so it's a third that is very often the starting point, but then it goes a bit up and up. Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to ask, if you've seen this, I think she's Norwegian. Her name is Viola, Wiola, Kirsten Viola. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's got in that book, that ebook she put out, which was the only thing I could find in English for her. She's got two in there that are, one's called Runtedalen.
Okay. Yeah. I must admit,
Norwegian.
I don't know. I can't, my brain is so full of ideas and stuff
Yeah.
that I can't really dive into everyone else's stuff, because that's probably going to drive me totally crazy and over the edge.
Yeah.
But so I know her well, and I know her
Oh,
design.
okay. But there's Setesdals sweaters. There's two of them in her collection.
Yeah.
But to the other lady's point, that she did them in like a cocoa was her background color, kind of that chocolate brown with off-white, and then she did another one in like a rusty red with an off-white, off the loose, and the other patterning was in white. So I was just thinking that kind of speaks to what some of the newer designers are coming up with, but still the same pattern.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same pattern.
Yep,
And
celebrating the pattern.
with
Yeah.
Viola, I know her well, and I also know what colors she uses, and she has this color scheme that she tends to pick from. And she is, like me, willing to use all the colors she likes. She puts together, and as Cecil does as well, we put together the colors we like. And sometimes we decided, okay, let's go with the traditional ones. What you will never see from me is a Mario sweater in the blue, white, and red, because I can't stand it. But that is just, but I might be making a Mario sweater in black and white. You never know. But there you go. So yeah, no, but Viola's she's got some really beautiful designs. And yes, I don't know the ones that you're talking about, but it doesn't surprise me that because if you look at her designs, you understand that she's really influenced by the old designs. She really is. Yeah. I love that. Thank you. Anything else? Is that all, Carrie? You good? Cool. Okay. Justine.
Hi.
Hi.
I've been following you for a while, but I'm new to Eternity Shawl Experience. I'm wondering if the knitting called Norwegian knitting because of the design work or designs of Norway, or why is it called Norwegian knitting?
There's a story behind that. When I decided to go to do this in English, I realized that I needed to find some sort of anchoring, and so that people found me. And I decided to go color work. And I decided to go towards the Norwegian color work and focus on that, because Norwegian color work is very different than Fair Isle, is very different than Latvian. There are some strict rules to all this. I have another seminar about that. We might even do a podcast about it at some point. But yeah, so that's why. And when I went towards, because I started this English speaking journey directed at the North American market and knitters, because, as I said, if you try to comprise the whole world, it's not going to work. And I thought, okay, I know we are 5.5 million Norwegians in Norway. In the US, there are more than 5 million Norwegians, Americans with Norwegian heritage, and there's probably a couple of, at least 1 million Canadians with the same heritage. And I decided that I wanted to try to find and anchor it into that and see if people responded. And they did. And here we are.
Cool.
Yeah. So,
Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for coming. So fun that you found us. Corey, my sweetie.
Hi, Anne and Steph. First and foremost, thank you both so much for everything you've poured into this. I love how you're taking an old pattern and making it new. And Steph, as you know, I love how you love Norwegian history and always make it relevant to what we're doing today. Before I ask my question, for anybody who's thinking of joining the mountain or joining Northern Lights or working with Anne and Steph, it's amazing. I had looked for color work classes for years, and I have thoroughly enjoyed being part of this community. And I've learned so much that everybody I show my stuff to is like, I can't believe you can do that. So, and I tell them that Anne and Steph take it bit by bit. So yeah. Anyway, so my question is Northern Lights based. So can I ask a question about the Northern Lights pattern, or is there going to be a follow-up call as to what we're doing with this sweater?
Oh, we are going to talk so much about this in the Northern Lights, sweetie, so don't worry.
Okay, then I'll wait. Then I'll wait.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jan.
Hello.
Hey.
Thank you. That was really interesting. It is, well, I'm going to Setesdal very soon, and I wondered if there were any knitting museums there that I should be going to.
There's not a knitting museum per se. There is a museum that you definitely should go to, and is in Valle, Valle.
Yeah.
Yeah. You definitely want to go there. The knitting, they used to have a huge exhibition there with a lot of knitting stuff, but that has been taken down. Are you going south towards to Mandal, to Kristiansand and Mandal? Are you going down to the coast as well?
We're arriving at Kristiansand and we're going up to Hovden.
Yeah, and that's on its way. There is another museum. It's down before you start moving up into the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna find that. And you need to.
People are asking you to put it into the chat, Anne.
Yeah, I'm
And
going.
while Anne's looking for that, Jan, I see a piece of lice sitting next to you. There's a piece of knitwear that's kind of reddish sitting next to you. Oh, look at that. Did you make that?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, stunning. And you have a raglan shoulder on that. So that's a newer pattern.
It's Rauma. It's a Rauma pattern.
It's a Rauma pattern.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, the raglan was quite challenging. I made one for my grandson as well, from the same book.
Oh, beautiful.
But,
very nice. How did you enjoy it? Did you like it?
Yeah, I found it was easier when I did the second one, the little one, because I found getting the raglan was challenging, but but okay. I've decided though I prefer Sandnes garn wool to Rauma. having done all that, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's
Well,
funny.
those
how
are
we are-
gorgeous.
yeah, that's funny how we have different, because I prefer Rauma to Sandnes. Yeah.
It feels, the Sandnes garn feels a bit thicker, and I think it maybe wears a bit better, but I don't know.
I don't think so, but that's
Yeah.
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 And Rauma is 100% Norwegian wool. Sandnes has some imported wool, high quality wool, so it's not that, but they have had to do that.
I can only buy it when I come over, you see. I have to get a stash when I come over each year and bring it back with me. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to get some this year.
I can't find that other museum. Where is it? Give me a few I'm gonna find it, and by the end of this call today, I'm gonna make sure that you get it. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
It's down by the coast. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anything else, Jeff?
Yeah. No, that was mainly it. But yeah, fascinating. I love how you use those little bits of a different color in those ones that you're doing. I really like that. That's inspiring.
Thank you. And the idea behind that is, like, as I keep saying, I mean, if someone wants to make a two-colored one, they can. But if they want to add a bit more, I'm not saying excitement, because it's not necessarily that, but if they want to add a touch of color, another color to it, then they can do that.
Yeah.
That's the idea behind this. So yeah, thank you.
I really like that. So thank you. I've really enjoyed this.
Well, thank you. Joanne.
Hello. This is my first time I've ever been a part of any of this. And the reason I joined is because I did knit my husband a Setesdal sweater. And so I'm going to be steeking it and doing the cut, and I'm going to try and do the embroidery as well. So my question is, because I live in Canada, I don't know where to access, or even how to access, the original wool to do the embroidery. Have you got any?
Oh, for the embroidered part.
Yeah. Do you have any sources of where I can get the material to do the embroidery?
I did go a couple places. You can buy embroidery wool online. And I can put that in the chat and do a email with Anne's afterwards. That's what I like to use, is a embroidery. And sometimes I've used, if you can go to a quilt store and they do the wool embroidery on quilts. So they call it wool thread. You can use that, but it's not anywhere as good as what you get as wool embroidery thread. So I'll put that into the chat with Anne's stuff afterwards.
That'd be great. Yeah. Okay, awesome. Thank you. That was it.
Very cool. Let we remove spotlight. Suzanne.
Hi.
Hey.
Hey, I unfortunately joined late because the system said it was full and wouldn't let me in. So I missed your lecture, and I'm very sorry I did.
Oh, no.
But glad I got to join now. I did one, and I love doing the embroidery. I thought it was really fun. And I just used my scrap yarn. So it's more like a crewel effect than the fine embroidery. So I'll stand up and show you.
Oh, lovely. That's more of a fauna. Very lovely.
Yeah.
It's a fauna.
Yeah, that is a fauna. Yeah.
And so here's the embroidery.
Oh, beautiful
on the sleeve.
On your cuff.
Yeah.
And then down here. But
and you put clasps on. Really nice.
I did classic Norwegian clasp.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
I love it. And then I did a set-in sleeve, because that's a better look on me than a drop shoulder. And so just did some modification to do that. But it was loads of fun to knit. And I'm sorry I missed all your lecture.
That's really funny. That's strange, because I did I did actually add capacity. So that surprised me. We've been around 100. I noticed that it stopped at 100, and
I noticed that too.
Yeah.
And
I
because I'd registered, but when I was logging in, it said maximum capacity reached. So whatever, you know,
that is a
computers.
bugger, to be quite honest, because I paid for 500 people. And that was,
Well, since you did, yes, you might talk to them because
but that doesn't help much. But that's a bugger. I'm more sad because you guys were not able to join us.
yes,
me too. I had somebody else in the chat is saying they got the same thing.
Yeah. I'm so sorry about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's fun to join at this point. So thank you for looking at my sweater. It was lovely too.
Thank you.
Okay, we have another question from Alice. Hey, Alice.
Hello.
Hello.
Unmuted.
Hi, Alice.
Thank you. First, thank you for this very informative, delightful Norwegian history class on the sweater. It was wonderful. So I just started with you on the eternity shawl, and that's my first experience in Anne's knitting. Can you just tell me a little bit about the mountain versus the northern lights, and can you just join either one, or is it sequential, or how does it work? Because I would like to be in another group, and I don't know what the difference kind of is and how I can join one versus the other.
Yeah. Okay. Currently we have 3 journeys. One is it's a test project, and 2 of them are continuing. So we have the mountain and the northern light will be continuing. And the mountain is, the northern light is a 12-month deep dive program where they commit to 12 months. And they get virtually everything that I put out there in a year. And there's a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of meetups, and we have a lot of fun. The Northern Light is the mountain journey is a come and go membership. You can stay as long as you want. And it's not, obviously, it's not as comprehensive, but we do quarterly focuses in a way that we add there's patterns, and then we build everything around those patterns that are released really with the community, with the live meetups, with the Q&A sessions. Because and in the Northern Light, what happens is that you get access to all the courses. In the Northern Light, you get access to the introduction course to how to knit continental, but you don't get the colorwork courses. Those are in the Northern Light or as a separate thing. So that's the difference. It's like, yeah. And the Northern Light is a very, right now it's closed.
Okay.
Yeah. We are opening up again in August. And it will be, you have to, in the Northern Light, you have to go through a one-to-one with me. Basically because that group is so important to me, and it doesn't mean that the other group is not important, but I see them the most. And it's so important that we get the right people in. And that sounds awful, but it has nothing to do with, people are afraid, to have an interview with Anne to get into the Northern Light. It's not an interview, it's just to check that, make sure that you know what you're getting into, and also that, the chemistry is correct, because sometimes it's not right for you, but very often it is.
Okay, so if I were to sign up for the mountain journey now, in August, I could sign up to be on a wait list to see about.
If you're on the inside, let me put it like this. If you're on the inside, you are first in line to get new spots when they are made available.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. And what I keep saying to people is that there is, the mountain is a $47 a month program. You can get it and during campaigns like this at 37. The Northern Light is an all-comprehensive program, and it's $197 a month. Or if you pay for the full year, it's no, that's wrong. It's actually 247. I'm so sorry. It's 247 per month. If you pay for the whole year, you get 2 months for free there as well, and that is 2,497. So it's more or less 2 months free. If you have signed up for the mountain already for a year, we always refund whatever is left of that year, just so you know, because that makes sense, because the mountain is obviously included in Northern Light. Yeah.
Okay.
Did that make sense, Alice?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Brilliant. Cool. Anyone else who has any questions, whether it is about the mountain journey or if it's about more knitting, now is the time. I always get these questions about why it's called a journey. And I'm going to spend a couple of minutes talking to you about that. And that is, to me, knitting is a journey that never stops, because we learn and we learn and we learn even more all the time. I've been knitting since I was 7. Steph has been knitting since she was 7. The big majority, 5, maybe even. Yeah,
5.
Yeah, there we go.
Lots a lot of years.
Yeah, the big majority of the people on the inside of my community has actually knit forever, and that they started when they were kids. But the big and some are new to knitting. But the point here is that I look upon knitting as a journey where we develop continuously all the time. I would never see myself as outlearned, as we call it in Norwegian. It's I learn something every day when it comes to knitting, almost. And I learned stuff from my people as well. But what I do is that I come with my expertise and I tell them how I do stuff. And then sometimes they don't know about this at all and they learn it from me. Other times they have their own way of doing it, but then they find that my way is a better way. They actually prefer that one. It's not necessarily better, but they prefer that one. Other times they prefer that because Steph and I do most of the things the same way, but there are a few things that we do differently, and then we teach you both ways. And then some people say that actually I prefer Steph's way. Brilliant. My point is that knitting, we get the same result by doing things in many different ways. And what is important is that we find the way that we like the most and is best for us. As I keep saying, there are so many roads that lead to Rome, and whatever road you take, you're going to end up in Rome no matter what. And that's the thing with knitting. You know, you can choose to do your things throwing, or you can do it continental. I would advise you to do it continental, but that's another story. So there you go. Yeah. So yeah, so just to give you a little, idea of my philosophy and how this works. And I'm actually quite upset about the fact that people didn't get in.
Yeah, quite a few. They're asking about replays, but
yeah,
I'm sure
what we're going to do, for those of you who came in late, what I'm going to do is that it takes a bit, Zoom needs to process the file. But when that is done, what I'm going to do is that I am going to upload this to YouTube. And I'm going to send you an email with a link to it so that you can watch it all. Right? So, there we go. Okay. Laurie, do you have a question? Anyone else have any questions? If not, we are rounding off with Laurie, but you are allowed to ask more questions if you want to.
What is I want to second everybody's, this was really cool. But what is the yarn of choice for this sweater? Is it Hillsvog, Brahma? What are you looking at?
For the blue one behind her?
Are you asking me?
Anybody who can answer.
Yeah. What do you think I will say?
Hillsvog.
Yeah, there you go. No, you can use, the thing is, what I think is important when you knit stuff like this, there might be people on this call that are, going to stop liking me after saying this. I don't like synthetics. I don't use acrylic yarn whatsoever. Never, ever, ever. It's plastic. It has nothing to do with knitting because it doesn't warm you and it doesn't cool you. End of story. That is my, my strong opinion. Said with a smile, but it is a really strong opinion. But with the Norwegian designs like this, I think it's really important that you use wool because that's what they were traditionally made from. And if you want to do it historically, you use wool. If you want to go for alpaca, I mean, obviously you can do that, but I would definitely prefer wool. And the reason for that is, why do you ask these questions? You get me going. I can talk about this until tomorrow. You know this, Lori. The reason for that is that the wool has so many qualities that are right for colorwork knitting. And one of them is that and especially the Norwegian wool is a bit lighter and spun than most, and it's a bit more bouncy wool than most wools around the world, actually. Everyone says this, even those high quality wool producers everywhere else says that the Norwegian wool is really bouncy. Because of that, it's not heavy. And it doesn't, and when a garment isn't heavy, it doesn't sag. A sagging knitted garment, we all know what that is, with alpaca, it's fairly heavy. So if you want to knit it in alpaca, you can do that. But be sure that it's a thin one, because if it's too thick, it's going to be too heavy and it's going to sag. It's going to fall, Gravity brings everything to the bottom, to the ground. But with the wool, it doesn't do that to the same degree, because wool has the wool fibers have a fiber memory that is quite exceptional, and because it finds its original shape, but at the same time, which is really ridiculous, but at the same time, it shapes itself to your body. So eventually, after having used that wool sweater for quite some time, that wool sweater is made to fit your body and no one else. So don't you dare go and, lose weight because it's going to be too big. But, or put on for that matter.
So,
and be too small. Yeah.
For people who haven't been with us before, Hillesvåg is a spinnery in Norway, and they use heritage breed wools, the Norwegian heritage breeds. So they support the farmers. They're a great company, and their wool is it's my favorite, without a doubt.
Okay, note to self, my shopping list is getting bigger and I need a bigger suitcase. Thank you.
Lori's going to Norway with Anne and I, so that she does need bring an extra suitcase.
We are having a trip. We are 18 people from the Northern Light that is going around Norway in a couple of weeks. So there we go. I love it. Looking forward to it. Yeah, please see you. Okay. Anything else? If not, we're gonna call it a day.
I saw somebody, Christine. There was a Christine hold on, who was waving her hand.
Okay.
Christine Harding. There's lots of you still on, but
can you hear me now?
I can.
I can.
I love everything about this, and it's the first I've known about any of it. So I have knit a Norwegian patterned sweater more than once, but this is all exciting and very informative. Thank you. My question is, in the Mountain Journey program, what is the pace of what you expect from us? Is that a fair question?
Oh, that's a fair
question. That is a fair question. Yeah.
And it's an important question. What do I say, Steph?
Anne has a motto. It's a mantra beyond a motto. It's a mantra. You are right where you're supposed to be.
Okay.
So there isn't a lot of expectations. Okay. We as in Anne, guarantees that per quarter, you're going to have at least one focused project that we focus on per quarter. And like the Setesdal one is coming up. During the holiday, we do like home knits this quarter Anne's got a t-shirt out, a knit t-shirt. That's the focus. So per quarter, she always throws in bonuses. So there's always some kind of other patterns going on. Plus we meet once a month. So there's a whole community that gets together, and it's more informal. And we sit and knit, or we talk about the projects and things like that. So it's not a forced pace at all, but there are opportunities for projects all the way along.
And when you say a project, it could be it could be a full garment, or it could be a hat, or a
It's like,
sure.
we're giving out wrist warmers. We're going to give out, this is a phone cover, a PC cover. There's going to be a hat, and that follows with this here. Sometimes we do small Christmas ornaments. Sometimes we did a pocket pouch earlier this spring. So it's all kinds of sizes, because some people knit only small projects, other people like the big projects. Yeah. And to me, this is extremely important to me. As she said, you're never behind. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. This is supposed to be fun. Knitting is supposed to add something positive to your life. The minute it becomes stressful, go and do something else. Okay. It can be stressful in the sense that you're challenged because you're learning something new. But if it's stressful to the degree that it bothers you, then no. Okay. That's my way of thinking. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else in the chat that you've seen, Steph, that we should address before
I haven't been paying attention.
No.
There will be replays. Ask about yarn. Norwegian wool we covered.
What we're going to do is that we're going to round it off. I want to say thank you to everyone for joining. I'm so grateful for every single one of you. I am really bummed by the fact that I did pay to have 500 people live on call, and only 100 were let in. I will post the replay as soon as it's available, so it will be will be done later tonight. It's 8:45 my time right now, so I'm going to do that straight away, and then there's an email coming awfully soon so that you can go and watch it. As I said,
there's one question.
Yeah.
There's one question in the chat I'd like to address before we sign off. Somebody asked why there's a fabric collar slit and on the cuffs. The reason for the fabric and the stuff over here, it can be replaced. So you don't have to reknit the whole sweater. You can easily take the collar off if you wear the collar, or if you wear your cuffs. You can easily take those fabric bits off, put new ones on, and you're just replacing this much. So
cool.
Okay.
Thank you.
So,
replay will be available awfully soon. Again, my apologies for those who couldn't get in. Not my fault. It was a system fault, unfortunately. I like it when I can blame someone else. That's not too often. But yeah, we do have, for those of you who want to join us in the Northern Light, we do have that special offer going until 20% off until June 8th. And also for those of you who join in the next 24 hours before midnight tomorrow, so it's a bit more than 24 hours, you will get an extra baby blanket pattern. And with that, and for everyone in the Northern Light, in the mountain already, you're going to get that pattern as well. And with that, I am going to call this a day, and I hope to see.
Thank you, everybody.
I know I'm going to see a lot of you, because a lot of you are already on the inside. But I hope to see more of you, and thank you so much for coming. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.